with this important update on the state of out-of-home measurement. And kicking things off are George Ivey, CEO and Executive Director, MRC, and Amy Pacheco, Director of Media Tech and Data at the 4As. Please welcome George and Amy to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. My name's Amy Pacheco. I'm with the 4As, and I'd like to thank Anna and the OAAA for having us at this terrific conference. There have been a lot of discussion over the past couple of days around measurement, of course, and a couple of the themes that I've been thinking about are the distinctions between OTS and LTS and the value of real-time impressions for measurement. The 4As has been a leader in the measurement space for television with a focus on clearly articulating the distinction between currency and measurement. And we are excited to be part of the ongoing work in the out-of-home space to continue to evolve how measurement standards. So to that end, I'm thrilled to be here with George Ivey, the CEO of the MRC. The MRC is a critical partner in standards across all media sectors and is working to further conversations and standard setting around out-of-home. And I'm very happy to be here with George. Thank you for joining us. Before we dive in, George, I asked you for a fun fact about yourself earlier, and I was interested to learn that you had spent several years as a kid in Japan. I was wondering if you could tell us a little about that.
Yes, well, my father was working in Japan at the time, and family was there, living there, and so we got to experience the culture and the people across about 6 years. And as a consequence, I personally am into a lot of things Japanese culture, and it's a part of my life that I find very interesting, and it's of course very dynamic and to follow it. So it's a big personal focus of mine.
Yeah, what a great experience to have as a young person. Okay, so I wanted to ask you first about some of the work that the MRC has done specifically in the out-of-home space and how the MRC is supporting the growth of the industry.
Yeah, so just by way of background, the MRC really only does two things. We're a very simple organization. We're really a small not-for-profit. We only have 7 employees. We set standards for how media is measured of all types. If you go to our website, mediaratingcouncil.org, you could look at a whole host of standards that we've written and we support, and sometimes we do that on our own, sometimes we do that with other business partners. For example, the 4As have partnered with us on multiple standards, how to measure impressions and viewable impressions and audience and things like that. And IAB has partnered with us, MMA has partnered with us, a lot of organizations have. And the OAAA, for example, is a key sponsor of the out-of-home work that we're doing. And we did digital place-based work. The DPAA has been a sponsor of that. The other thing we do is we conduct audits of how companies measure and whether they're in compliance with the standards we set. And when they're in compliance materially, we accredit them. And it's like an industry good housekeeping seal. So one of the things we do to support business and transactions in the industry, and this is very much needed in out-of-home, is we validate and accredit measurement. And the buying marketplace, agencies and advertisers, find that important for trust. We ensure transparency, calculative accuracy, et cetera, in our audits. So one of the key things we're trying to do, write standards, get them out there, and more importantly, conduct audits of the measurement organizations to validate their processes so that that enhances the trust and usability of that measurement in the marketplace among the buy side. You want that to happen more in out-of-home. Right now, that is not happening, and it needs to happen. So that's one thing that we're trying to do. We've got a multi-phase standard approach. These standards are nearing total completion, actually, within probably the next 60 days. Then they're going to go to public comment, and 60 days after that, they should be completed, and they can be used. We also are starting to audit out-of-home vendors. For example, we audit an unusual vendor named Quende, who measures out-of-home traffic with satellite imagery, which is a real innovation. And we were auditing, for example, the proof of play data for JCDecaux. None of those are accredited yet, but they've entered the audit process. We audit some point of care providers, which is another important digital place-based thing. So we're doing audits too, but this is just starting because the standards are nearing completion.
There's been a lot of work, really, in the last 18 months to 2 years on all these fronts. You spoke at our Decisions conference in 2023. One of the things you talked about then was the need for impression level for out-of-home.
Right.
How close are we to that now?
I think we're very close. For measurement of impressions, we've already issued a standard. We did that last year. And those are the vendor conversations we're involved in and how these audit processes are starting. That's a really good thing. We encourage more of that. Any of you guys that are in vendors in the audience, you should think about this, validating that and bringing it to the table. The importance of impression measurement, because impression measurement is not the end necessarily. It's an important piece of information. The end is audience. Audience measurement is important. You want to know not only has your billboard or your out-of-home asset, street furniture, whatever it is, has it been exposed? Opportunity to see, is there some likelihood to see that's measured? And ultimately, what's the audience? The demographic characteristics and other characteristics of those people that have consumed your media. That's what's valuable to these guys and how they buy, how they target. All these panels that you've been watching, the importance of targeting, this is what enables it. So impression measurement, if you target and you measure audience and something goes wrong, you want to know, why didn't I get the audience that I was expecting? You can't do that at the audience level. You got to go back and see, well, were my impressions what I thought they were? Was there a deficiency? Were they not to the right location or whatever? This is how you sort of investigate when things don't go how you want. So impressions are a very important foundational measurement. And there's a lot of innovation out there now in out-of-home about how to measure impression, what vendors are coming to the table with that level data. So
in progress on the second phase of the document on focusing specifically on audience measurement, phase 1 was released last year. Where are we with that process?
With phase 2?
Correct.
Nearing completion. We've been through several drafts with a large committee, we also have an out-of-home committee at the MRC of our members. We have about 175 member organizations who are deeply involved in this. Many of them are members of the out-of-home committee, and they help us vet this information. And basically, it needs to be completed. We think that'll happen in the next 60 days, and then it'll all be vetted and issued for public comment and then finalized. And the public comment period is a thing that we set, but it's likely to be 60 days. And then right after that, within a couple weeks, it's finalized and issued.
That's exciting.
It's a big thing. We think it'll open up a lot of doors and opportunities in out-of-home.
One last point that I think would be helpful if we could talk a bit about the distinction between what the MRC does and what a provider like Geopath does.
Right. Well, first of all, MRC does not measure. Let me just say that again. MRC is not a measurement organization. We only do the two things that I referenced. we set standards for how vendors measure, and then we conduct audits of vendors that measure and validate that, make sure it's transparent, make sure it follows standards which are about operational best practices, controls, things like that. And when they achieve material compliance, we accredit them. The industry looks for that. That's all we do. I don't sell anything, I don't create data, that's all we do. Geopath has an unusual governance system because of its sort of multi-partite governance system, which makes them an unusual vendor, but in our eyes, they're a vendor. They produce measurement data, just like Nielsen. Nielsen doesn't have that governance structure, but Nielsen is a vendor. MRI is a vendor. In a sense, Google is a vendor, Facebook is a vendor, LinkedIn, Walmart, Amazon. We audit all of those organizations. We don't audit Geopath. To be clear, we don't audit Geopath. But those are vendors. We regulate vendors. Vendors produce research. We were set up by the US government to perform industry self-regulation over vendors. That was back in 1963, and we've been doing that ever since. So we're very different from Geopath.
George,
Hopefully
thank you
that's
so
clear.
much for your time today. Really
Okay.
appreciate your update.
No problem. Thank you, Amy, and
everyone.
thanks to the OAAA for having us.